So how's everybody? Good? It's getting a little bit late, so I've just tried to speak a little bit louder and try to also make it a little bit shorter. All of you are going to be happy. If one thing is going to make you even happier is that I'm also going to have a small gift to one of you that is going to just give an answer to my question that is going to give you in the last. So just don't keep your hopes very high, but it's going to be very good. So first of all, my name is Ahmed. I'm the CEO of ITK Media. We started to basically somehow try to have a different definition of what media could mean. So we basically try to just very easily put the right content in the right channel and try to help you have a better business. So I'm trying to just do the same thing and try to talk about something that is not just about me, it's rather about you. It's about startup mistakes. How many of you have a startup here or work for a startup? Or at least related to startup? No one a startup in your life? So somehow, at least by the first degree, second degree, maybe third degree, somehow related. Other than that, I don't know why you're really coming to Open Reaktor. Very good. So we want to basically just show how to not to make those messes and try to just have something a little bit more interesting. I think most of you agree with me that the first thing that is going to start with most of you guys are with an idea. But we have different things. Sometimes we think that, oh my God, like guys, I am so much different with everybody. The idea that I have, nobody else has that. So I am the only person with this one. So I'm very comfortable about that. And that's maybe the first mistake that many people started the whole journey of a startup with the same problem. Think twice. If you think that you're the only person who is thinking about something, no. If Uber was the first person, no. If a startup Safari was the first person, no. So behind that idea, either that idea should be very unique or your implementation should be unique. So somehow you have to differentiate yourself from the competitors and the others. So make sure that your idea is not unique. Somebody else is doing it. Try to make it very good. How many of you know this person? Olga. Good. Few of you. So she started to just make something very, very easy for you guys. So with this, you're going to have solar panels on the back of your phone, and none of your phone is going to die as long as you're even going to have a slight light in front of your phone. So how many of you wants to have that on the back of your phone if you can afford it? And how many of you can just make it tomorrow? You see, this is an idea. This is something secure that you can easily talk about it. You can easily spend your time making that, because this is an idea that tomorrow I'm not just going, oh, that's very cool. When I just paste it behind my phone, then I'm just going to start another one tomorrow. Another one, founder. If you really think that you're going to make a startup, the first thing that I suggest to most of you guys is try to find a co-founder. If you're just trying to say that I am one person, the first thing is that if you want to make money, people usually are giving money to a founder, to a person, not an idea. Uber can be totally a different idea and a different company, but if the founder of Uber is going to be the right person, people do that. As you can see, I didn't even know that who is going to be before me, so that was a very good coincidence. Right now we can also talk a little bit more about Uber. Jason was one of the first people who started working with him. The idea is very simple, working against all taxi drivers. I mean, who wants to really invest money in that? But he said exactly that the first thing that he wanted to do is to invest in this guy because he's a smart guy and he believed in the guy. The idea can always change. So when the guy is the right person, everything else can go around it and try to make it more appealing to everybody else. And another thing that is very important, try to have a co-founder. Why? Because if you can believe one person in your cause, then the other VCs, the other people would say that, yes, this is not just one person, at least two people believe in this idea. So maybe there is a thing in it. So trust me, most of the companies, when they have at least more than one founders, and I would just try to generalize everything, but maybe this is one of those things in Poland, that most startups that I know, they are usually just one single founder. And if you are going to have a co-founder, don't worry about it. You're just going to have a bigger cake and you're just going to be happy. Again, another very good Polish example, showroom. Maybe some of you know. Okay, good. You see, we have some friends around, at least from this plan. So most startups, even when they have co-founder, you always see one of them, but these guys, they're always together. They're very successful. They're going global, and they're just doing an amazing job. And if you ask me, it's one of the main reasons, because they are working as a group. A business plan. Another big problem that most of us really, really suffer is that they say, hey guys, if you want to be a startup, you have to be cool. You have to just have a very cool idea and then find another cool co-founder or partner, and then let's start doing the whole thing. But guys, corporations, all those regulations and paperwork, they're not just something that we just want to just put them all aside and just say, don't try to even take a look at it. There should be a business plan if you really want to work. And trust me, sales is not the only thing. You have to really have a plan in order to expand your business. For all of you, I'm just going to put this slide later. So this is just a very simple way. As you can see, key partners, key activities, and all the other things. I'm not a big fan of reading from my presentation, so I'm just going to give it to you guys. You can just try to take a look at it. Just understand that there are many different ways before starting your business. You have to make sure that you have a business plan and then start it. And if you have a business plan, then all of your business is going to be totally secure. And how many of you know Samba TV? I bet you should know. If not, Boris is just going to kick you out of here. So he, believe it or not, I mean, that's a good thing that he's not also here. We can easily talk about him. That he definitely had a business plan. It's impossible to have a company and just try to sell it that easy and try to go with that. I'm just saying easy for him. I mean, not for everybody else. So try to have a business plan. Out of that, you're just going to be in a startup and just try to be cool. And this imagination of sometimes I'm going to just be rich and everything is going to last forever. So business plan. Go global. One of the most important part is that startup by definition should be something that you have to somehow try to make it bigger. You have to somehow try to make the same samples to the other places. So if you have not a scalable idea, say anything else, but don't say that you have a startup. So if you have a great startup, and when somebody wants to talk about your product, you say that the only way that I can sell my product is just in my neighborhood, or if it's in my city, think twice. If you really want to go global, the only thing that you have to do, again, go back, try to just go to all those steps and try to make a proper business plan, because once you go global, you're just going to see a totally new doors is going to open to you guys. The whole door is here, just your imagination. Just open it, and then everything is just ready to serve. Best example of that, base. Maybe some of you know also the base. Good, Ella Madea, she was here. She was also having the same conversation. So you have to remember, even that was a very funny conversation. Sometimes when I was talking to my friends back in San Francisco, back in the States, they didn't even know that they're Polish. Not that they're hiding it. It's because they are a global company, a global startup. I mean, they're so big, I'm not sure still we can call them startup. But that's the whole point. If you just think that the mindset is about going global, then everything else is going to just show the whole way, and then you can try to just be very, very successful. And brand equity. If I'm trying to talk here and say, hey guys, we're doing something, but it's okay, and then we just, because I know that my product is new, so I'm just going to give it to you for a very cheap price. We are not just trying to make some new clients. The first thing that we're going to lose is our brand. First of all, we just see that I am not confident in what I'm doing, so I am going to lose my own brand. So make sure you have always two different brands, your company brand and yourself. Both of them are going to sell. If you believe that, for example, Boris is the right person, if tomorrow Boris is going to make another reactor, like closed reactor, close to the open reactor, do you really care which open reactor you're going to go? No, because you believe in a brand, and then when you believe in the brand, then everything is going to be there. One very good example of that, I think all of you guys should know this guy. So he is the guy that he literally works, first of all, on brand equity of himself, then everything else around him. When he bought the Instagram, and everybody would say that he's crazy, just because they say that there is something, because Mark is just going there and try to just put some money in the company. VR and other things that people would say, come on, this is so old, nobody is going to do anything. If they wanted to do that, it was always already 100 years that people trying to make virtual reality. But because he was trying to do that. So if you make a brand for yourself, even if you change your job, even if you change your startup, still people are going to pay for your product and do what you do. And if you do the same thing for your company, even if your product is going to be super expensive, because they understand that this is a brand that they can trust, so they think how they can afford it. A very good guy in order to just do that. How many of you know Mike? And how many of you in Brand 24? I think it's kind of like overlapping, and that is good. Because I believe if Mike tomorrow wants to just make another company, I think he can easily do that. Because the same amount of people that know his brand know himself. And this is good. Because first of all, they know him as a person that tomorrow he's in San Francisco, today he's in Poland. And all these stories can somehow add up and try to give you at least a little bit of more confident that this is a guy that knows what he's doing, so for sure his company is doing something great, and if the product is doing good, so back and forth, these two brands can somehow help you in order to have a better success as what you're doing. Hustle. I mean, I don't want to say about hustling about you guys. Right now it's late in night and none of you are home just opening your Netflix if you have some, or not just downloading some movies illegally and try to watch it. So that's the whole thing. Go out, try to talk to people, really talk to each other. Just don't go back in the corner of the room and try to do that. And from my point of view, whenever I'm talking about hustling and try to be more active, I mean, how many of you know Gary? He's the guy, you know. You have to just understand that sometimes try to just be like sad, try to be gloomy, just doing something. Guys, if you really want to do your startup, you have to really believe in what you're doing. You have to be really confident, and you have to just make sure that nobody can prove you wrong, and try to do it super. He is a guy that he has a proven business, but still he works 24 hours, and it's a very good example. Another guy that I hope nobody can say anything against that is Greg. He is another guy that he literally just shows everybody how a hustler can be. SaaS is a very, very complicated thing. Even if you want to go to a VC and try to say in the first year you didn't get anything, still are going to believe you. But he is the guy that right now he built a very big business, almost a year, less than 2 years, definitely, as far as I know. And right now they're in the States, they're in UK, and they're really making a big, big image for themselves. And if you want to ask one thing, that what would be the idea, or it was the sales or anything else, I would say that because he's a hustler, because he goes around, he just talks to people, he tries to really just achieve his goal, and he's not going to stand for any limitations or, you know, like any statistics about that. And persona, remember that if you have a startup, if you have a product, you have to make sure understand who is your client, who is your customer. If you're trying to make a startup and then you say that somebody is going to come and just buy it from me, don't do that. Make a persona. Even some big companies, that's one of the funny things you have to know about the TV, that sometimes these personas, they even have a name. Just call your clients Agata, I don't know, like Mike, Mihao, and try to say that Agata is 16 years old, she likes to play this and that, and she is going to be the person that I'm going to sell. Then you understand if you're making a mistake or you're just generalizing. Because they say if you're just doing something for everybody, nobody is going to hear you. I came here because I'm talking about startups, because I thought that you guys have something to do in common. So we are exactly talking about the persona of the people that we exactly know what you're doing. And again, as you can see, some of my slides are very easy and some of them are a little bit more complicated. You have to sit down and try to really make a proper persona about who is really your client, who is the person who is going to really have it. If it's a B2B or B2C, doesn't matter. You have to make a real person that when you're talking about that person, you're talking about it with all details. And if that person is going to buy it, then you're ready to go. How many of you know the Ducky Deck? Good. So a very, very easy business, but the most important part is that these guys exactly know who their client is. They exactly know how their clients are reacting. And that's why, again, you can easily see that they're having a very good business. They're just walking around and all the doors are open to them. And they're really just, you know, like just having their businesses in a better and better way. And another things, all of these things that I discussed, none of them is going to happen if you don't have a proper media. If what you're doing is amazing and your mom and your wife and your boyfriend and your girlfriend knows everything about it, it's not going to give you anything. If you want to go global, if you want to have a proper business plan, if you want to find the right people, if you want to be a hustler, you have to have the right media in order to do that. If you really want to achieve what you're doing, you have to shout. I can just stop that microphone and then maybe half of you are not going to hear properly. So I am trying to make my voice a little bit louder. That's a very good thing also, because the guys from Uber talked about the power of social media. Our friend about Startup Safari, they are also doing the same thing. Be socialized, you know, go outside. But okay, I'm just trying to talk about everything. But the first thing is that, okay, so where can I find you? So you should have a LinkedIn, you should have a Twitter, you should have a Facebook. Don't think about it that, okay, guys, I don't have a proper product, I'm not ready yet. No, be there, at least you know the topic that you want to do. Try to make it in a way that everybody would make sure 100% that you are the best person at what you do. You have a SaaS idea, it's very complicated. So the first thing, generalize, start talking about this idea. After you have MVP, try to show that. Before that, try to that, I'm going to bring my product into the market. Hey guys, just be aware of that. When the MVP is there, okay, it's a great day. And so don't try to be silent. Try to be on media and try to be very loud. How many of you knows rowing? Maybe a little bit. It's a very good sport. This guy, he's a loser, right? You see, like everybody else is going in this direction, this guy is looking in the other way. But he is doing something very, very important. What he is doing, he is synchronizing the whole activities. This is the guy in the media. This is the guy that is just shouting at everybody, that everybody would understand that, guys, there should be a rhythm in what you're doing. When you're trying to go into SaaS direction in one way, you're talking about IoT, you're doing something else, there should be a channel that somebody says, hey guys, we're already doing what you're doing, we already have a final product, take a look at us. Hey guys, what you're doing, we're looking for a startup in order to make an investment in that. So if you shout, if you try to be louder, you can do that. I don't want to just try to advertise about what we do, but this is a time square, and I took it 8 months after we started the company. And the only way that I could be the media partner, not even media partner, be the partner of NASDAQ, was one thing and one thing only. I was loud. As Boris was just making a joke, I was like, I could come from Iran, but I am Polish. And I could really just from time to time say, you know, like just show you guys that I am a very patriotic Polish person, regardless of my lack of Polish language, if you want to put that into the context. Why? Because I just believe in what I do, and I was just shouting that, guys, there is a potential here, come here, let's do this and that and that. And when you get a proper advertisement and time squared, then I hope most other doors are going to be open to you. If I talk to the biggest Polish company right now, if I want to say that we want to work with you, when we work with NASDAQ, that already all other companies are working under those brand, then they would trust you. And trust me, there was no magic in the whole thing. It's just the idea of having the right media and shouting it with all the other things that I told you. You have the right idea, you have the right founder, you know exactly what you're doing, you know to who you're selling, and after that is the right time in order to just speak a little bit louder, try to exactly define what you're doing, and everything is going to be okay. So, I just talked to all of you before that. I'm just going to give you something. So I talked about different startups. So whoever thinks that they can at least give me the name of 5 startups that I mentioned that they're doing okay in Poland, just raise your hand, and first person who's going to come here, I'm just going to give him a prize, or her. 4 of the startups that I said, maybe? Pardon? Oh, no, don't shout it. You have to come here and just say 4 of them. Okay, 3 of them. 3, come on.
So first startup is Base.
Yes.
Second startup is Brain24, and third startup is Ducky Deck.
Very good. Thank you. So, just gonna give you an apple. Guys, no, this is not over. That was the beginning. The biggest mistakes that a startup do is that they don't listen. I talked about every single one of them just for that one that I wanted to say. We get many, many very, very, very important points, and I'm trying to just repeat it very, much, that at least this time you're gonna listen to that. If we really listen, all of those things are not a real problem. If we just try to say that, guys, we're just going to repeat it later. This guy is going to bring it back into the, like somewhere, and then we're just going to download it, and don't wait for tomorrow. Listen to everything. That app, pardon? And do it, yeah, make shit happen. So this is very important. I just try to give you that price just for the token that, remember, if you listen, you're just going to be awarded about that. And the funny thing is, that award could be as small as that apple, or that apple that this guy is having is a little bit more expensive than my apple. Okay, so thank you very much. If you have a question, I'm going to be here. I'm just going to answer to that, but in a little bit of a different way. There is a very interesting topic. They call them the canned ideas. Canned. Sometimes it's the fastest and the cheapest way to answer to everything. You just put some beans into some can and then try to sell it. Even if they don't buy it, you can just keep 2 years back there. This idea is still going to be there. Look, if somebody wants to generalize that answer and try to answer that, it's going to be betraying you and your next move. One of the most important thing about the startups and everything is that everything is personal. You have to tell me what you want to do. You have to tell me how you want to do it. You have to tell me how do you know that guy. You might have better chance in order to work with a person that you just met, but you have a proper qualification with that person or not. So if I want to just have one of the things that we have as a media company, we want to work with companies every single time. If I want to send an offer, I read everything about the company. I read everything that they do up to yesterday and then try to go back and talk to them. Because if I want to just generalize everything, this is, again, guys, this is something that we have to really try to say we're a startup, we're doing something different, we're doing something scalable. If I just want to just have one idea and try to just sell it to everybody, if my first person is going to be the fool and is going to take it, the second person is not going to do that. So I would really like to answer, but we have to sit down and try to talk to that after that. Any more questions? So if there is no question, so pardon? Please, yeah. Look, writing is a skill that you don't have to really. One thing that the most important thing is everything is a pitch. What I do right now is a pitch. What you do is a pitch. The only problem is that you have to really understand that what you're doing and what you're trying to basically sell to the next person is the same thing. What you want to call it content marketing. You're just talking about it talking. So the first thing that you do is take something from your mom and then you survive and then you forget it that is in your nature. People, if they really express themselves, they will take it. But if you want to be artificial, then everything is going to be a problem. If a journalist is a real journalist, if they really know how to write, how to express themselves, they can sell something industrial the same way that they can write about psychology. If they don't know it, they show that they don't know it, but still they write it so good that it's going to sell as good as anything else. So if you're really looking for somebody natural, or if you think that you can do it, one thing that I would say on top of that, even a bad advertisement is still an advertisement. So if somebody wants to write about that, ask the first person to do that, and if the second person wants to write about that, let another person to do that, and. So don't even be picky about it. I mean, I'm not asking you to hire that person, but if, as you mentioned, somebody wants to just ask you to write something about you, don't say no to everybody, because as long as you're going to have more advertisement, that you're going to have more words on social media, on every other channel, this is an opportunity for you to be better and better. So I'm just going to add something to that because you're not asking a question, but I'm just going to answer to something. That, guys, this is also another thing that some people are just trying to somehow justify it. Going to social media, it's not the comfort zone. If you try to just talk about your idea and you talk about it with your mom that loves you, your partner that love you, you always get a very positive and a very welcoming feedback. One of the problems some people don't like to shout, don't like to go out, is that they get negative feedbacks, but this is the most constructive way. You can get a proper result if it's a B2B, if it's a B2C, if it's a product, or it's a non-product way. If you go deep down and understand why you're not doing it, because most people are really seriously are afraid of making mistakes, and somebody would just say that, no, your product is not good, no, what you did was not accurate, or even they found out that they're making a mistake. Many startups are working because they know that they have a competitor, but they think that nobody would understand. That's why they never go out and try to shout about what they do. But if you want to work with smart people, you have to know that they know better than you. And if you want to work with stupid people, trust me, that money is never really going to end up in your pocket. So try to forget about your comfort zone. Try to forget about, okay, if I want to ask that question, maybe that question wasn't the smartest question, so I'm not going to ask that question. Don't think that if I post something on Twitter or Facebook, then later I have to edit it 4 times. Try to make mistake, learn by your mistake, and try to be better and better. This is a very good thing. If somebody can steal your idea, and I think it's always the case, they would do it. If they're not going to steal your idea right now, when you just take it out, trust me, there are companies that they are dedicated for copying ideas. you have to remember two things. First of all, people are busy. So if they want to steal your idea, means that your idea is better than everybody else. So if you have a very good idea that is very good and is better than everybody else's and is that easy, it's not a good idea at the beginning. If you just say that, guys, I have a very good idea about making something, but if I want to sell 1 unit, then the next person can make the same thing, you're just contributing something very good to your society. But it's impossible for you guys to make anything out of it. And also remember, hashtag. Hashtag was an idea, brilliant idea, but that person didn't even copyrighted that idea. He just let it out. They say, guys, I have an idea. We can use hashtag before every single word that is going to make it clickable. So click on that, then people would understand everything. When you see that, we just say, okay, hashtag startup mistakes, hashtag Open Reaktor. It's a great idea. The guy didn't even get 1 cent out of that. How did he get his money? By becoming super famous and then becoming social media advisor to big corporations. So if he would say that if I want to take this idea out, I can't monetize it, it's not going to go out, he would never have anything. Right now, he is the father of hashtag, he is famous, and now he is helping big corporations with social media management and all of his idea regarding content marketing. So remember that if you have a very easy idea that is going to be copied anyway, don't even try to keep it to yourself. Try to understand how you can pivot it, how you can try to make another idea that is not the case of just stealing it. It's the idea that this is what I do, and if I don't want to do it, somebody else wants to do it, they're going to do it their own way. It's not going to be my product. One thing, if that question would come up, I will just show you the Greg and Grobots. There was a very interesting chart. If you want, I can put it on the Open Reaktor. You can try to take a look at it. And the competition that they do. Because they are working basically on enhancing, on automatically just helping with the sales and everything. The chart is full of 1,000 different companies, and every single one of them can say that, guys, this was my idea or this was my idea, but this is not the case. All of them are trying to compete with each other based on the topic, based on how they can make it better, and nobody should just try to say that I am trying to compete with the other person. I mean, I don't want to go philosophical about these kind of things, but there is a very funny case of, like, there was a very good monk and he was in the desert, and then there was a guy that he wanted to be his student, and he was just say, what should I do? And then the guy just put a line in the sand, and he said that just try to make a bigger line, you know, make it bigger. So the guy, make it smaller. So the guy was always trying to make a smaller line close to that. And then he was always rejecting it, and I just don't want to waste their time with that. But after that, he said that, okay, I just don't know. And just the part is that he just tried to wipe one part of the line, and then the line was easier. That's the part. Sometimes people, when they want to make a line shorter, they just destroy you. But at the same time, if you want to make, you know, like the line shorter, you can just make a bigger line closer to that line, and then you make that line shorter without wiping it. If you want to just make better softwares than the others, if they are going to be better than you, they can make a bigger company close to you. You don't have to wipe away your line and try to just go something, you know, like that you already did and try to destroy it. Don't worry about it.